The Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, as we mentioned, again linking the coronavirus outbreak to a lab in Wuhan.
While the Intelligence Committee continues to do its work, they should continue to do that and verify so that we are certain. I can tell you that there is a significant amount of evidence that this came from that laboratory in Wuhan.
Our senior news editor, Ros Krasny, is in Washington. And Ros, is there a logical endpoint that we can see with regard to all this antagonism from Pompeo, the others in the administration showing toward China? And then, of course, we then see the natural retaliation from Beijing as well.
Right. Well, it seems like we're heading down another rabbit hole of threats and possible retaliation, sort of similar to the trade war that really only ended a couple of months ago. And it's been interesting how this theory about the Wuhan lab has really moved from the fringes of the Republican circles right to the center, right to the president and Pompeo. So I don't know what the end point is. We've seen Trump in the past week or so escalating his efforts to pin the blame on China. And I think as the U.S. death toll continues to rise, that will only ramp up. There was some rumors last week, or some talks about what Trump might do, including, stopping U.S. mutual funds from government mutual funds from investing in Chinese stocks, and some very serious things pushed by his his hawk section on China. So it's really unclear, but I think it's going to be a line of rhetoric for weeks to come.
And Ros, of course, we know that the reopening theme is well underway. We know that President Trump will be speaking tonight. What are we expecting?
Well, tonight is a sort of a big extravaganza, a patriotic event on Fox News down at the Lincoln Memorial, very symbolic place in U.S. history. And it's actually going to be Trump, the Vice President, Mike Pence, the Treasury Secretary is going to be there. So they're really going to be pushing quite hard on featuring states that are reopening, talking about the strength of the economy that they hope to get back by the election. And so I would expect a very raucous sort of campaign rally type event. But by the same token, we continue to get sort of the drip from different states, New York, New Jersey, which are opening, if at all, very, very slowly. And there are even some states that have tried to open up more quickly and then have started to backtrack because a number of U.S. states continue to see rising coronavirus cases. There's no clear sort of path on a national basis, and I think that's at least one thing that you'll see. One element that we did see today is that some conservative groups are going to start monitoring and grading governors on how well or how quickly they open their economies. It's a tactic that they've used for tax cuts and gun legislation over the years. So it seems like opening the economy is the next litmus test.
Right. In the meantime, is New York area pointing the way for the rest of the country? We've seen a pretty sharp drop in cases and deaths. Is even, of course, as we hear from Andrew Cuomo saying, this idea that people are going to be lulled into a false sense of security, right?
Yes, exactly. And in New York in the last few days, there have been a lot more people out on the streets coming out to see the Thunderbird flyovers and really just taking advantage of lovely weather. So that's an issue. I mean, on a national basis, the New York and sort of tri-state statistics have a big sort of overcompensating impact. But there's a number of states, whether it's Illinois, Michigan, North Carolina, that are still seeing, still seeing coronavirus cases and hospitalizations rise. And that's something that Scott Gottlieb, the former head of the FDA, talked about today. He said that really the U.S. could be entering a new normal where there's 20 to 30,000 cases a day, something over 1,000 deaths a day. So New York and New Jersey might be on the downslope, but I think other states are still moving on up.